Stories. I'm Sarah Flower.
I'm Dahlia Cotes.
And I work here at Fort Lewis College, but I'm also a 2005 alumna here at Fort Lewis College. And Dahlia, you're a senior?
Yeah, senior here. No, I'm a senior. I'm a senior here at the Fort. I'm the editor-in-chief of Images magazine and a Springboard Fellow as well.
Lots going on. Being involved is super important here at Fort Lewis. Here we are, not quite yet at midterms, not at the beginning of the semester. We're kind of really getting the trains on the track. Nod to Durango Silverton Narrow Gauge Rail.
Hey!
And as far as momentum here, spring break is coming up the week of March 16th, right? Mark your calendars for that one.
Yes. Mini break was great. Always nice to get a little mini break in.
Mini break, yes. Yeah. But how about the big winter break for you?
It was awesome.
But no, it's very dry.
Very dry.
For those of you that are tuning in outside of the Durango area, It was a very dry December. Rain on Christmas here.
Yeah.
You weren't here for Christmas.
I was in the Midwest. It was 70 degrees.
Okay.
Hot take, it was too hot.
Hot take is that it was too hot around here. So we're just building up the momentum. February, which is the month we're in right now, is Black History Month. January, last month, was MLK Day that was celebrated up here on campus. Thanks to the great folks over at Black Student Union for building up momentum for a great march that community members showed up for, faculty, staff. Thanks to Elijah and his team over at Black Student Union. But so many great, I want to get back into what you're doing at Images. So many great resources here on campus to be involved in. RSOs are huge on campus and so many different niche things to get involved in.
Great places to start. Social Dance is always doing these dance classes over in the gym. Just a good time, meet new people. You get to learn a little something new. I know Fort Lewis Gaming Society's always got some tournaments going on, some Mario Kart, some Smash Bros. So it could be cool to check out. And if you don't see something you like on SkyHub, you can make your own club, which is something that's really cool about Fort Lewis.
SkyHub is awesome for those thinking of how do I get involved? It's an awesome resource to be these are the kind of things I like. And also any of the folks over at the Student Involvement Center, the SIC, Nicolette and McKenna are great resources to be I just want to do something. And shout out to whoever is doing those really cool dry erase boards all over campus. For those of you who don't have the opportunity to come and check it out, those are artistes at its finest.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Let's jump into chefs really quick because all the folks over at the dining hall, Fresh Ideas has done such a great job out there and really curating to a lot of different things on campus. And so Mike Brown shout out to Mike Brown.
Shout out Mike Brown.
And the opportunity to just go in, and he's really done a great job. Have you seen the new bubble machine, by the way? The fizzy water?
I didn't see the fizzy water machine, but they have Blue Bunny birthday cake ice cream, which is the most superior ice cream flavor on the market.
Blue Bunny?
Birthday cake.
Over Tillamook?
Okay, well, I misspoke there because I forgot about Tillamook.
Do you get the green box? Are you a green boxer?
I'm not. I like to dine in.
Okay.
I like to weigh all my options, go back from seconds, thirds.
Okay.
But if I'm on the hurry, I'm green boxing it.
Are your foods touching?
No.
You're not
Sarah, no. I can't believe you would think I was a food toucher.
But then
you should know me better than that.
But sometimes when you're at the dining hall, you can do a rice bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all blend.
They have a good rice selection there. They have kimchi. Shout out the guy who resupplies the kimchi at the dining hall. He's awesome. I love the kimchi there.
And to that whole crew out there for doing really such a great job. And there's always keep your eye out too. There's always free meals at the dining hall. Hosts periodically throughout the whole semester. For those also, when we talk about getting involved, how about FLC athletics? And to all of our student athletes that put in so much time and effort to not only get their academics done, but also to be out there traveling and doing great things. Basketball season is up in full force. Yeah. The men's and women's teams are really crushing it out there. Go skyhawks.com. Even if you don't know what's happening, even if you're not
Talons.
Even if you're not super into athletics, just go and clap with everybody else. It is really just great to be involved and connected on so many different levels throughout campus.
And it's a great time.
It is a great time. Often free shirts.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Get your swag on, you know?
I think that's really big. Sean Jacobowski, the new athletic director for the college, has also done such a great job at incorporating community into there. So I know there's a lot of great sponsors throughout town that really are participating. And so I love that it's a blend of students and community members as well.
Yeah.
I want to bring in so you're a senior. I want to put you on the spot a little bit. When you think of your time here, Dahlia, and being so involved and being a RSO leader in that, can you think of a faculty member that has really paved your way?
I think that we should give a huge shout out to Candace Naden.
Yeah.
She has blessed my life in so many ways, and she's blessed the lives of so many other students. That's just a big thing at Fort Lewis. The faculty, like the professors, just really care about the student body, and they want to see you succeed. And Candace Naden is just a great example of such an awesome professor here at the Fort.
And such a good connector.
Yes.
You know, for those maybe alums, I was an English comm major back in the day. I think of Michelle Malik, Dr. Malik, Professor Malik, somebody who's still teaching in the department today that has that opportunity to really be able to connect. And same thing. And even today, it's nice to be friends with professors. I don't think every college has that opportunity or university, but certainly here at Fort Lewis.
Yeah.
And, you know, things are changing and growing every day. And some of that is in reconciliation, one of the strategic plan. And so here in just a moment, we're going to have President of Fort Lewis College, Dr. Heather Shotton, who will be joining us in the President's Corner talking about reconciliation with Matthew Schaefer. Coming up next.
Welcome back to Braided Stories. I'm Heather Shotton, president at Fort Lewis College. Today, we're talking about a topic that is very personal to me and one of our intentional directions of the 2025-2030 strategic plan, reconciliation. For us at Fort Lewis College, reconciliation is not just a word or a value, but it's something that we live through practice here at the college. Joining us is someone whose journey embodies that commitment. As an undergraduate, they explored how we understand and bring meaning to reconciliation to our life here on campus. Today, they serve as our new reconciliation coordinator, helping to connect people, programs, and ideas so that this work isn't abstract, but real, relational, and visible across departments and communities. Today, we have Matthew Schaefer, who brings lived experience, scholarship, and deep care to the work of relationship building, listening, learning, and helping us through what it means to move forward together. I'm honored to welcome Matthew.
Hi, Heather. Thank you for having me.
So, one of my first introductions to you here at Fort Lewis College was through your work, your undergraduate senior research project on reconciliation.
Yeah.
And I remember having that conversation with you, and you were very interested in how folks were understanding reconciliation, faculty and staff, how they were weaving it into their work. So maybe tell me what sparked that interest for you as a student.
Yeah, so as a student, I was a political science major, and something that stuck out to me that year that I reached out to you and we had this conversation was that report came out from History Colorado. And it really showed what happened at Fort Lewis Indian Boarding School. And it was really heavy for a lot of our community, and we introduced our framework that same year for reconciliation. And I was just curious to see, I figured, you know, these faculty and staff are interacting with us, me as a student at the time, and I figured that's probably where this reconciliation framework will meet our students and me as a student at the time. So that's kind of what really got me interested, is trying to understand like what it means for our faculty and staff, and then down to our students.
And I have to say, I remember sharing your research with our cabinet during one of our summer retreats, and it shed so much light onto the work that needed to happen across campus to enliven our practices of reconciliation and the framework, and moving it, as I said, from the abstract to something that we live and that is actionable. And so I really appreciate the work that you did as a student and now as a staff member here at Fort Lewis. So for folks that might be newer to Fort Lewis, or maybe even new to the concept of reconciliation, can we start by sharing what reconciliation means for us here at Fort Lewis College and why it's central to who we are as an institution?
Yeah, as an institution, we're a NASNT. We serve Indigenous students and Native American students, and something about reconciliation that's central is that kind of shared responsibility of our community to care and honor our Indigenous students and the history of this place. It's a lot to carry, but I would say if you're new to it, our website has just been updated. There's more information there if you need a shared definition that we use here at the college, including like our framework and like what it means.
If someone had never heard of reconciliation before, how would you make it accessible? What would you tell them is the basis of reconciliation?
Yeah, I would say healing is central to reconciliation. Healing is really kind of at all levels of this work. We have our framework and definition, but healing has to be central in this work because of the history and the harm that was caused in order to, repair or restart these relationships with our Indigenous communities and students.
Yeah, it seems like understanding the stories and the history of reconciliation, particularly as it pertains to Fort Lewis College and our own history here. And that learning is an important first step for so many of us as we're on this journey together. You've been deeply involved in this work for a while now, from a student now to a staff member. What feels different about this moment for you compared to maybe just a few years ago?
Yeah, so much. I've been so excited to see how much it's grown and how much there was a lot of intention in the beginning, but how much it's actually spelled out now and how much our institution has defined it. We have a great director, Rosalinda Linares Gray, who has done an amazing job at kind of guiding this work. And even from a year ago today, like we have a team now, we're building it out. We have all these great programs coming up and opportunities to engage with reconciliation, which I didn't see a few years ago, but now I think it's in our strategic plan. We're kind of doing the work, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah. You all did your first Reconciliation 101 and kind of learning series starting last fall, and you had, over 200 or close to 200 faculty and staff?
Close to 200 employees at the college attended that session, and I think it just shows how much our community cares about this. Mm-hmm. It's something that needs a focus on a shared responsibility, because for healing and reconciliation, you kind of need everyone at the table to talk about this and to center that healing aspect.
Yeah, I think on that we often think of reconciliation as something that again, maybe is a little more abstract. We're not sure how we enact it in our classrooms or in my work in different areas across campus, and that's really part of what you all have been doing with the workshops and training is helping folks to understand what is reconciliation, but also how they bring it into their spaces. So I'm wondering how, for you and across campus, how does reconciliation show up beyond statements of the history or acknowledging the history? How does it show up in the day-to-day decisions, in planning, in programming, or how we even operate as a college? What are things that we need to be thinking about?
Yeah, so in order to center that healing, I think harm reduction is key. We don't want to re-cause harm from the boarding school history, so it's more than just acknowledging our history. I think to actually practice this every day, it requires a lot of self-reflection in the decisions we're making, in the people who are in rooms in the decisions we're making. I think at all levels, it's just being more intentional about how we approach working with our Indigenous students, our Indigenous community members, and the tribal nations that surround us and are our neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking about the, you all have created a reconciliation advisory committee made up of students to help us look at policies. So we can look at our policies, how that impacts the college and our students through a reconciliation lens. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how that works, what you're looking at?
Yeah, so I really wanted to center our students on their lived experience here. What is their time like here at Fort Lewis College? I had an amazing time, but there were hard moments here as a student. And that's the reality for all of our students. And so really, they were reflecting on like their time here and what could have been better. And then we're gonna move on to, how does that show up in policy? I was a political science major, so I'm a bit nerdy about policy.
I love a good policy walk.
Yes.
Love it.
And so we have to really look at, are we being intentional in our policy about how it affects our Indigenous students? For example, smudging is a big topic here on campus, and we're working on, reviewing that policy and thinking more holistically about how, students interact with smudging and how it's really like a mental health care. Like it's really taking care of yourself and hasn't always been honored that way in policy, because policy, it's very rigid the way it's written. Yeah.
So as you talk about that, I think it relates so much to other parts of the strategic plan, from being student ready to thinking about basic needs, and overall, how we are creating spaces and approaches to making sure that our students can succeed and thrive here at Fort Lewis College. So I really appreciate those perspectives. So I think maybe, one final question, reconciliation for some folks, they have done a lot of the work and have studied it, have a deep understanding. For other folks, they're new to it, and it's a new concept, but they are committed. I think that's one thing I've seen across campus that's really exciting, is that our people are really committed to our reconciliation work. So for students, faculty, or staff who want to engage but aren't sure where to start, what does participation actually look like when it comes to reconciliation?
Yeah, that's a big question. Like you said, there's so many different layers of how much knowledge people carry about reconciliation. But I just want to name, it's a complicated concept. It is something that requires a lot of thought and intent. So in your everyday practice, I would say for our employees and our staff and faculty, really engaging with our department and those professional learning series we're putting on is a great way to start. It really provides that baseline, but also gets into like the deeper, like how. For our students, I think, we're here to serve our students. So we're launching programming this semester, like an Indigenous Policy Institute. There's the advisory group you mentioned earlier. There's just like so many opportunities to just engage and learn more. So I'm really excited for everyone's shared commitment and shared responsibility.
Well, thank you, Matthew. I appreciate the work that you're doing and our entire reconciliation team, and the way that you have demonstrated a commitment to this really vital work for the college and have been such a wonderful thought partner for me, and I think for all of our leadership and across campus. So thank you for your work and your commitment, and looking forward to all that's on the forefront for our reconciliation work.
Me too, thank you.
Thank you all. Again, thank you to Matthew Schaefer for joining us here on Braided Stories.
Thanks, President Shotton, and thank you, Matthew, for this month's edition of President's Corner with President Heather Shotton. A quick reminder for those that do want to connect faculty, staff, or students, of course, to come and connect with President Shotton. There are shots with Shotton. So come and get a free cup of coffee, maybe a hot dog. but let's not dip it together.
No dips.
But
No dips.
check that out on all of our social medias. We'll have that connected throughout there. So Shots with Shotton. Check out your calendars for those upcoming dates as well. And also a quick safety reminder for those living on campus to remember to lock your doors.
Lock your doors.
Lock your doors. Anybody you don't know, don't
Don't let them in.
don't let them in. And I do want to do a couple of quick, should we do the respectfully no's?
I think we can hit
that
two.
how we
Should we do
wanna
two?
hit?
Should we do two?
Two each. Let's do two
Okay.
each.
I think what I'm respectfully knowing this episode is driving your scooter over 15 miles per hour on the sidewalk. Respectfully, no, scares me. Scares me. I get a little Scooby-Doo jump every time it comes zooming past me. And my second respectfully no is picking up trash on, like littering on campus. Respectfully, no. You see trash, pick it up. That's a respectfully yes. Littering, respectfully, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about I'm going to be respectfully no walking up and down the stairs. Let's pick a lane. Mm-hmm. That's kind
Sarah,
of where,
yeah, Sarah, yeah.
That's my biggest one. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Braided Stories here at Fort Lewis College. I'm Sarah Flower.
I'm Dahlia Cotes. Talons up.